Now, this is an interesting one. Our next guest has made the decision to educate her children from home, but rather than curriculum-based home learning, as we've heard quite a bit about, she in fact believes there is more benefit from learning purely naturally.
A typical day for primary school children starts at 9 a.m. It's usually made up of 5 hours of learning, including maths, English and science, and playtimes. The children usually finish just after 3. But for 9-year-old Rio and 8-year-old Bryden, a typical day is very different. Their mother, Marianne, does not believe in traditional schooling and has decided they should learn from home. She also doesn't believe in routine or a schedule, so the children wake up and go to bed when their parents do. Marianne is one of a new wave of parents embracing so-called unschooling, a new philosophy that rejects curriculum-based education in favour of letting children choose what they want to do. In Scotland, the government is supportive of homeschooling, but local authorities have a duty to ensure that parents provide a suitable education. Whereas in England, the parents must provide children with a full-time education, whether it's at home or school.
Well, Marianne joins us now alongside 9-year-old daughter Rio and John Clark, who's Vice Principal of Passmore's Academy. Good morning to you all. There'll be parents getting ready for the school run this morning who are balking at the thought of what you are doing. What is so wrong with normal schooling?
It doesn't work for us. It's very structured, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It needs to be there. It works for people, and it works for some kids, but not for us as a family.
Why? What is so different about the way you want your children to learn?
I want them to be free to make their own choices and learn what they want to learn when they want to learn it.
The kids of Rio's age know their own mind. Are they mature enough to make their own choices?
Absolutely. I think they're able to make choices even when they're a lot younger than 9.
Well, let's speak to Rio. Yeah. She's sat there.
You've been to school, Rio, haven't you? But it was a year or two ago that you decided it was too babyish and you wanted to stay at home with your mum and learn that way.
Yeah, because when I was going swimming, I'm well, not really good, but I'm quite a good swimmer, and I do like diving in at the deep end. But when I went swimming, like, they made me sat at the shallow end and like blow bubbles and play ring-a-ring and rosies, and I found it really babyish.
So did you learn to swim with school?
No, I knew how to swim before that.
Okay.
And so what do you choose to do then in your day, Rio? I mean, can you, if you don't fancy learning much, can you sit around and watch a bit of telly for most of the day if that's what you want to do?
Yeah, most of the times if we're not going anywhere, and usually if we are, it's somewhere fun, like to our friend's house.
And your friends obviously are going to school, I assume, and they're learning all the normal subjects are maths and English and foreign languages. Do you learn those kind of things at home as well? I mean, do you learn foreign languages, for example?
Well, most of my friends actually don't go to school. They're unschooled as well.
Right.
Wow.
But at home, I don't really have a structure. I just kind of learn what I want when I want to learn it.
What do you think, John?
I think meeting Rio backstage, she's a huge success, so who am I to argue about this arrangement? But to be honest, this is good parenting. This is the kind of thing that we'd like to work with all parents on. You know, Rio's fantastic at reading. She's been sitting there reading with her mum since a very, very young age. When we talk to parents and working in partnership with parents, nearly every school in the country, every primary school in the country, really wants their parents to sit down and talk and read with their children and spend more time. So Marianne's in that luxury. She's in that luxury where she is spending quality time with her daughter. From my point of view, schools are so important. We give them the structures, we've got the teachers there, the experts, especially at secondary level where we are, to push them on. Yeah. But I absolutely understand where Marianne's coming from about taking children's and listening to what their direction is in life.
I mean, Marianne, and a future employer, presumably you wanted to go on and work somewhere, or would you like to go to university? I mean, they will look for what her qualifications are.
It's not for me to decide what she wants to do.
Well, if you are her mother, I mean, a lot of parents do not decide, but encourage and instill discipline.
Yeah, I understand that.
Because you left school yourself without qualifications, right?
I did, yes.
So does that influence your decision here?
Absolutely not. It was a very natural process when it came to deciding to give my kids a choice. They used to go to nursery.
And
so
will she have qualifications? Will Rio go on to do her GCSEs at any point?
Rio? I don't know. She's 9 years old. Will they be called GCSEs when she's old enough to do that?
Do you want her to have any qualifications?
I don't. I want her to be successful. I want her to have confidence and be happy and do what she wants to do.
Well, we hope that's the case. It's certainly good to talk to you. Very eloquent, no doubt about that.
Fascinating.
And we're glad to hear your view on these things, John.
Yeah,
thank you very much
great.
as well.
Thank you. Really, really interesting.
Okay, just time now to throw.
Also on the programme?
I decided to give the kids a choice, whether they wanted to go to school or not.
Well, at 8:10, we're asking, is she right? Should children be able to learn how and when they want to?
And Brick is back.
And the best.
And as well about Hollywood star Steve Carell homeschooling, but we're about to speak to a man who calls herself a radical unschooler.
Rio Jacobs doesn't send her children to school. She doesn't teach them at home either.
A typical day for primary school pupils starts at 9 a.m. It's usually made up of 5 hours of learning, including maths, English and science, and playtimes. The children generally finish just after 3. But for 9-year-old Rio and 8-year-old Bryden, a typical day is very different. Their mother Marianne doesn't believe in traditional schooling and has decided they should learn from home. She also doesn't believe in a routine or a schedule, so the children wake up and go to bed when their parents do. Marianne is one of a new wave of parents embracing unschooling, a new philosophy that rejects curriculum-based education in favour of letting children choose what they want to do. In Scotland, the government is supportive of homeschooling, but local authorities have a duty to ensure that parents provide a suitable education. Whereas in England, by law, the parents must provide children with a full-time education, whether it's at home or at school.
Well, Marianne joins us now with her 9-year-old daughter Rio. Also with us is John Clark, Vice Principal of Passmore's Academy, which featured, of course, in the Educating Essex TV show. A radical unschooler. Why? Lots of people watching, I can imagine, will think that you're letting your daughter down by not giving her a proper education.
Why do I do it?
Yeah.
I believe in giving children, as well as any other human being, freedom of choice.
Even at the age of 9?
Absolutely, yeah.
What does that mean, though, the freedom of choice? I just wonder how the day is structured. You know, in the way that when you go to school, certainly at secondary school, but primary school as well, there's a structure to the day. Is there a structure to your days? How does it actually...
There's a natural flow to our day.
How does that work, though, in practice?
Well, we get up, we decide what we want to do when we wake up and carry on our day.
It sounds as though you're having a great time. Do you enjoy this, Rio? Does this work for you?
Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah?
I love it.
Did you not miss the interaction that you might get with other children at school?
No, I have plenty of interaction with the friends that I make through unschooling.
Right, okay, so how... Is there lots of mates that you've got in your local area that you just play with, that come round?
Well, there's not many people in our local area that we know.
Right, okay.
What is it against school? Why do you
I'm
not
not
like
against school.
Or why are you against sending your children to school then, when the majority of the British public
Well,
do?
I'm not against sending them to school. Again, as I said, it was a choice. And as I said earlier, it was a natural process for me when I started questioning things at nursery about a routine and having to go back and forward to nurseries 20 times a week, and it was spoiling our days.
Right, okay, so what do you... this again, I'm just trying to get to how you learn. What kind of things do you learn, Rio? Do you do maths and English and history and geography and all of that?
Well, yeah, I do, but I learn it in different ways. Like, I could learn maths by going out and counting stones or playing Scrabble or
Right.
all stuff like that.
Because you're clearly a very, very intelligent and bright young girl.
Thank
You can see that. Read a lot. Because I saw there with all your books, you had Enid Blyton books and all of those I used to love when I was a kid. So you spend a lot of time reading on the computer and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I like playing the computer and reading books.
John, what do you make of this, the idea of unschooling?
Well, clearly Rio is a huge success. She's
She is.
really benefiting
Yeah.
from high quality time with her parent, and that's what every school would want. Is it a substitute for a good, high quality school? No, it's not, in my opinion. But actually the parenting we're seeing here is really, really good. Students, young people, are educated best when it's a combination between the school and the parent. All the activities that Marianne does with Rio are the kind of things that parents could be doing at weekends, in school holidays, in evenings. All the things that really put the finishing touches on an education. I think she's going to miss out on the expertise that we have in schools. I think later on in life there may be some restrictions in terms of where she can go. But right now she's a huge success. And who am I to judge that decision
No, indeed.
that Marianne's making for
In
her?
primary school, I can sort of get it, but what about
into secondary school? Will you send her to secondary school and then maybe to university? Or
I won't ever send her. I won't ever tell her what to do.
how are you allowed to do that? Does the local authority not say? Did they not?
Well,
come round?
education says that they can be educated by school or other means.
Right.
And that there doesn't have to be a set curriculum.
Sure. But are you not worried about, because everybody always says, oh, you've got to get education, to get a job and to get and qualifications. And
I don't worry. My brain's very de-schooled. I don't have that school way of thinking. I know that actually natural learning is a process like they learn to walk and talk.
No, I understand. I hear what you're saying, but the thing is, Rio at some point in her life will be in front of people who are giving her an interview for a job, and they'll say, what qualifications
How
have
do
you
you
got?
know she won't be the interviewer?
Well, I don't know that. I don't know that, but presumably she will have to get in a position of a job before she can be promoted in that sense. So it depends what she wants to do with her
life. It depends. I'm in the process of starting my own business.
Right.
So I don't have to be interviewed to do that, so...
But in a way, your philosophy is like sort of giving her the opportunity to do whatever she wants. But actually, aren't you in some ways restricting her by not giving her the chance to have...
because if she wants to do qualifications or follow a career path, as people say, how will she be a doctor? Well, how did doctors become doctors?
Well, they go to university and get...
absolutely. Yeah. And I will facilitate that in every way that I can.
Depends on what she wants to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fascinating. Thank you. Thank you for all your calls and emails and texts as well. We got an awful lot, didn't we?
So many.
Very 50-50, I would say. A lot of people supporting you, an awful lot of people not though too.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave's got a funny one. He says, more fool you. He says, I'm happy when my son goes to school for the rest in the peace and quiet.
Exactly. I had said that in the paper. It's like, why do people say that? If you don't want your kids around, it's crazy.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you. Thanks, John, for coming in.
Right, what have we got still to come?
Well, we have Anchorman star Steve Carell joining us.